The wrestling community mourns the loss of global superstar and legend Sabu. He was just 60 years old, and here on the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast, we like to show our respect by honoring him with a 10-bell salute. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family, his friends, and his endless amount of fans around the world.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes! What you gonna do? 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 What you gonna do?
This part never gets old. Welcome to the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast, where we take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling. Now, I am your host, the realness himself, the real Dwayne Allen, in the building, and he is your host. Not just any producer, but the super producer. Brother Hugh has the third H to the A to the S, T to the H to the E, 3 to the R, to the D in the building today. And he is your host, the curator, the creator. Not just any guy, but the belt guy. Brandon, the guy is in the building. And he is your host, the man who has officially waged a war against faulty technology, the man, the myth, the legend, the creator, the founder, and the man who discovered me that I'm sitting behind the mic himself, but he is still a heel and still in 2025, Mr. Steel, your goddamn show. Brian H. Waters is in the building, and welcome to another episode of the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast. Gentlemen, how are you guys feeling? We are back. We're here to honor one of our favorites, to talk a little bit of Backlash, to talk a little bit about John Cena's heel turn. Is it working? We're going to find out. All these conversations left for us to have and more. But brothers, we are back. What's going on? What's everybody up to? I feel like it's been a few hours since I've talked to you guys in a group text. What's new? It's been too long. What's cracking?
I mean, I watched a little bit of basketball. I got annoyed by that. I watched a little bit of AEW, and as always, only the women impressed me. Because
That's not nice. We like AEW now.
I mean, MJF is going to hurt people. But right now I'm looking at. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself, so I'm going to change it. I got on an old WCW playlist from 2000. You know that logo?
Mm-hmm.
That's just like the symbol of incompetence.
That's not fair.
You're
starting off very, very hard because you got 2 sentences in and I already have a rebuttal. What's going on, Brian H? Go ahead. I want to hear this.
I'm just saying that silver WCW logos. Give me the. You know what I'm talking about? The one that's like the Vince Russo era.
That was the. Are you talking about the Vince Russo era? Or are you talking about the 2000s era, like when it cracked like 99?
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
okay.
99.
See,
their last logo is terrible.
In all fairness, in all fairness, I'll say that the logo was probably the best thing about that era. But the wrestling didn't match up to the logo change. I remember when they first changed that logo, they were like, "We changed our look going into." It was like 99. It was like going into the year 2000. We're going to refresh our look for WCW.
Realness. It's
yes,
like
sir.
What you say about this championship belt.
Oh boy.
as good as it is, as gorgeous as it is, it represents something to us. And that was the end of all our favorites.
That's not nice. Now you hurt my
I
feelings. I didn't
said
want.
it. I'm just
I know,
regurgitating what you brought that to my attention with your superior wrestling intellect.
but it's a reality that I didn't want to face. It's okay. Well, this
And
you
same with
starting
that
already.
WCW logo.
That's terrible. Anyway, I'm not talking to you, brother Hugh, brother guy. How you guys feeling? Because Brian H is just already shots already fired. So
He's
he's
starting
just
already. Yep.
yeah, man. Like he's just, that was a rough time period for WCW. But I like that logo. But he's right, and I hate the fact that like, well, there's not so much I can say about that. Anyway, that's why we got to move on. Brother
Absolutely.
Hugh, brother guy,
Yes,
how you
sir.
guys feeling today?
Oh, I'm feeling phenomenal. I'm great. Came off a great weekend,
I
a
bet
great
you
W on
did.
Saturday.
I mean, you look at you look like it based off the T-shirt you have on.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah,
You know
you're
what I
older.
mean?
Happy
Somebody,
birthday,
I know.
brother
somebody
Hugh.
Thank you,
celebrated a
sir.
birthday. We should have had birthday
Mhm.
balloons
Yes,
or
sir.
something on
Yes,
here.
I
sir.
know. My bad, bro. I forgot.
It's all good, brother. It's all good. I got the birthday text. I'm good with that.
Yep,
Thank you for showing me
midnight,
love as usual. Everybody.
midnight, 12:07. Happy birthday, brother Hugh. I'm
It's
mad.
been a
I'm mad. We
party
don't
ever
have.
since.
I'm mad. We don't have Stevie Wonder's a happy birthday theme, but we're monetized now, so we can't play copyrighted
Yeah,
music. But you get the
Yes,
picture.
sir.
It's
Right.
okay.
they be tripping.
Yeah,
They do.
they don't want us to be great or having any fun, but it's okay. You're another
Never.
year older, having fun. You're celebrating. That's the way it's supposed to be, especially someone like you. If you don't know Brother Hugh's story, whoo, does he have a testimony? But yes, another year, looking good. Look at him, shades on, wanted man, chain around his neck. He's looking to cause problems, brother guy.
Yes, sir. Always.
How are you feeling, sir? We back again for another week. Brother Hugh is showing off, man. He's like Benjamin Button. He gets older and he looks younger. I don't know how that's possible, but it's okay. Got good genes, I suppose. How about you, brother guy? How you feeling?
You muted. Is it?
Oh, ooh, no, it's cool. Okay, let me interpret it.
It's
Well,
right.
brother guy's saying, yeah, man, it's fun. You know what I'm saying? It's cool looking at brother Hugh do his thing, man. It's his birthday, man. I'm here and we rocking and rolling. I'm reading his lips, y'all. This is what he's saying. Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going, brother guy. I'm going to interpret it for you. He's saying, what is he saying? Oh God, this technology, I'm going to break this thing. No, it's okay, brother guy. Don't get frustrated. Look at him. It's okay. It's okay. Brother guy is fine. He's going to get his audio fixed off. But like I said, luckily I can read lips, and that's what he said. He's happy to celebrate brother Hugh. He likes
That's a
his
good
hat.
skill.
And no, I'm saying that's just somebody has to do it. You know what I mean? And it's all good. So yeah, brother guy, he's coming in hot. But we are here, like I said, for another rendition of what we do each and every week. And that is bring the conversation to a level of intellect where we like to educate people, have some fun, and do what we do best. And that's talking about a little bit of wrestling. But before we get into that, we have got a few things that we always have stacked every week. And one of the things we have stacked, it starts with the sound and it shows a firebird and some letters going forward. But ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to review the latest episode of Championship Culture. Dun, dun, dun. That's right. Every time you hear that sound, usually that is the cue for the promo video for the latest, the greatest, the newest brand to the Wrestling Wrealm platform, which is Championship Culture, where Brandon, the guy, and super producer, brother Hugh, has the third. They curate and they bring the greatest conversations, unboxings, topics, everything encompassed and embodied in the world of championship culture, wrestling belts, titles, all of the above. And this week is a little different because, I'm sorry, season 3 has ended. And for those that might want to catch up on all you've missed of season 3 and season 2 and the bonus episodes, you can head to youtube.com/Wrestling Wrealm playlist Championship Culture. Now, the show usually shows on every Tuesday at 8 p.m. But like I said, season 3 has commenced. and season 4 is well underway. Now, last week, the guys from Championship Culture, they made an announcement. They pretty much said, hey, listen, we're going to make an announcement potentially about a potential date of when Championship Culture will return for season 4. And they gave us that. I'm going to let these brothers talk about that. But then also, we've got another small promo where Brother Guy, the Belt King, if you have seen the legendary Belt Room, it is a museum of championship glory. And I noticed that those belt racks were completely empty. So he teased something and he made it clear that there are going to be some major changes for season 4. And judging by the Belt Room being completely cleared out, I am just as curious as the rest of the wrestling fans. So, Championship Culture brothers, come on. Every week we do this.
Brother.
Every week we do this, and I ask you the same question. Can we please get another nugget, another tidbit? I said tidbit. See, you gotta clarify these days. It's 2025. On what season 4 could potentially be all about. You guys are putting out dates, you guys are putting out teasers. So tell the people when season 4 will premiere, as well as give us a little snippet, a little nugget about what you got up your sleeve, Brother Guy. Brother Hugh, I know you're not going to be cooperative, so we're just going to go straight to Brother Guy. Brother Guy, don't look at him. Don't look at him. Don't check your phone. Don't check your text messages, because he's right. He's like, don't you say a word. I'm going to try to gas you up and get you to spill the beans. Because if you get excited about belts, you might let one loose. Brother, he's like, don't look at him. He's got sunglasses on. He's like, don't say it. Don't. So, Brother Guy, talk to the people, man. Come on. Season 4. What's going on in the Belt Room?
What's going on? Well, as everybody can see, for the last couple of weeks, I've been in a temporary location, and I'm in a temporary location because
it looks nice.
Yeah, this is a temporary location.
That's Funko Lane, by the way.
Yes, this is.
We're taking a name.
This is location C.
Funk.
Location C. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So
it's no location B.
There's a location A and B in the works that you so see, but I will tell you this.
I see what you did there. Get it? You shall see A and B room that it's not C. Never mind. Go ahead.
That's all right. That was clever. That was clever.
Yeah. I see what you did there.
So yes, and if you paid attention, there was a date on there, but all I'm gonna say is nobody caught it. But it's okay though. So that's all I'm gonna say. But I'm in location Studio C, you might as well say, because Studio A and B are under construction. That's all I'm gonna say about Studio A and B.
Is it like, are you like creating your belt room in terms of like a belt cave, where it's like a mixture between like the Bat Cave and like wrestling belts?
Is that what you're doing? Is that what it is? You said it, not me. I'm asking you. Is that what it is?
Who knows? I'm about to regret this, Brother Hugh.
Okay. Look, he's he's just gonna look at you.
Please tell me you got something for us. I mean, come on now. It's season 4. What can you just give us some? Listen to me. You're a year older. You're a year wiser. Things have changed. Things don't gotta be the same. Okay. I'm asking you.
Right.
Can you just be different this one time?
Do you like change?
If I like change when I get information about upcoming stuff about seasons of belt shows that I haven't seen. That's just kind of a thing about it. So it's like, I don't know, it's one of those type things.
Okay. Well, all I can give you is that June 10th, it's a Tuesday. Check it out.
Come on, man.
That's it.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
That's exactly how I feel.
That's
like, just, that's cool. That's fine. You know what? I don't have time for the shenanigans. It's okay, because we at least have a date, okay? And we do know that it's some sort of tease, some sort of surprise coming June. You said June 10th, correct?
June 10th, yes, sir.
June 10th. All right. Well, something's better than nothing. I guess we have to take that. So until then, you're going to have to just live off of previous episodes of Championship Culture. Like I said, if you want to catch Championship Culture, it's every Tuesday on youtube.com/Wrestling Wrealm playlist Championship Culture. Go back and watch season 3. Go back and watch season 2, season 1, because some of those conversations are relatively timeless. and all the bonus episodes, like Brother Guy unboxing championship belts around the holiday season and wearing Christmas hats in the promos. Yes, all that and more. So, as
And
we
that's
patiently
of all the things, you always go back to that. You don't go back to the double turn. You don't go back to the
no
championships being revealed. It's always that
Santa guy.
Christmas
Yeah,
episode.
that's exactly.
I don't know
It's
why the
going back to
Christmas
Santa guy.
episode,
I'm
but
telling
I'll
you,
tell you
man.
that.
Go ahead.
I'll tell you there might be some of that happening in season 4. There might
Don't
be.
do it, Brother Hugh. Look at him. He clicked off. Nope. Don't. What'd you say, Brother Guy? Keep going.
Then once you see your face, nope. All right, keep on going,
No,
realist.
see,
I think you'll
no.
be surprised with season 4.
See, you let him get to you. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
You let him get to you. That's all right. But like I said, if you're going to catch previous episodes of season of Championship Culture, definitely check out season 3 and all the previous episodes on our YouTube channel. It is also, and follow them on Instagram at Championship Culture _. We usually advertise at the end, but that's where you're going to keep all your secret updates and all these cryptic things they like to do. But they make it really, really, really fun, which is what we stand for here at the Wrestling Wrealm. So,
Yeah, he's
with
back.
that being said, look, brother. He was like, don't say it. Don't. Now, yes, every week we do 2 segments. We alternate segments, Wrestling Wrealm Facts and Unpopular Opinion. And we will get back to that next week, I promise. But this week's episode is very, very special. It's because, like I said, there was an untimely passing of one of the greatest to ever do it, one of our all-time favorites. And we want to make sure that we have plenty of time to have this conversation about the late and the great Sabu, who recently passed. Ironically, maybe a month after his final match, he just retired around WrestleMania weekend. So we will get back to that next week, but we're going to jump right into the show so we can get this ball rolling. And not only are we here to talk about Sabu, we're also going to talk about WWE Backlash. We're going to talk about did the show live up to the hype? I'm going to ask the brothers a few questions about John Cena's heel turn, or maybe Seth Rollins in this whole faction with Paul Heyman. And I don't know, maybe if the product is starting to plateau, but plenty of other things, including the Backlash card, some of our favorite matches, moments, and how it is compared to previous Backlash years. So we're going to get into all that and more. But like I said, without further ado, we're going to ask our co-hosts, Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed, to help us get the show started ceremoniously by ringing the bell. Gentlemen, help us start the show, please.
Want to ring the bell? Ding, ding.
All right, and there we have it. The bell has rung. Let us not waste any time in getting this show started. So before we get to what did you watch, let's just jump right into this good old reflection of Terry Brunk, known as Sabu. Gentlemen, anything that comes to mind, anyone that comes to mind, right? I cannot express how important Sabu has been to this industry and how important his impact has been on the performers that we have seen over the years. And really his fingerprints and his imprint has been all over the product we have loved for so many years, simply because of his style, his reckless attitude when it comes to performing, his just intention about everything that he does, and his just willingness to put his body on the line to continue to, I guess, feed into the character of Sabu, but give everybody a good show. But like I said, let's take the time to let's reflect on one of the greatest and personally one of my favorites of all time in Sabu. Who wants to go first? I'm not going to go first because you guys know I'm long-winded and I could write a book about Sabu and some of my favorite moments about him. But let's just start at the very beginning. Who wants to talk about the first time they remember even seeing Sabu or hearing about Sabu, or him coming across your TV screen or on a wrestling magazine, so on and so forth? Who wants to jump right into it?
I'll jump in. I like what you said right there, the magazines, because that's the way I was introduced to Sabu. At that time, like when I was younger, my Uncle Troy, if I didn't have the magazines, he would have them, and we flip through the pages, and that was always like, when I would get a haircut or stuff, that was like a wrestling class. I went to school where he would sit there and educate me on the different wrestlers that I didn't see on TV or that was coming. And Sabu was one of those guys. And my first memory was that whole invasion, the ECW invasion, when he jumped off the Raw side.
So you remember that?
Yeah, I remember watching it. And I remember thinking, like, oh wow, that's the dude from the magazine. Because that was my introduction to like actually seeing ECW on TV, because I wasn't checking for it and I never knew when it came on. So that was my memory. And then obviously when the Vince McMahon bought ECW, he was like, RVD was obviously like Mr. Pay-per-view, and but Sabu he felt like Mr. Tuesday Night. Like, even if you wasn't super satisfied with the way ECW was being handled, you knew you was gonna get an authentic Sabu. And I actually just watched the Dark Side of the Ring on his uncle, the late great original Sheik. And it was weird because it was one of those things where we knew Sabu, like, you waited for it all season, right? You knew that was coming up, that episode. But then, boom, last week, it's like next week, the original Sheik. You because they show Sabu through the clips, and then boom, you get the news. It's like, oh man, like he's gonna be on Dark Side, and it was a lot of his story, even though, sorry,
Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
It was a lot of his story, and I'm pretty sure they would do probably an episode or Dark Side Unheard, because a lot of times what they do is they'll take an episode, like they'll talk about somebody who they got a lot of interview clips, and they'll tell a whole different story. Shout out to my good friend Emilio Sparks, who's the producer. And like they did one on Lanny Poffo. Of course, you're not selling a Dark Side of the Ring to Vice TV on Lanny Poffo, but you could do a podcast on the experience of the interview. So that's what I'm looking forward to, because Sabu was in a lot of that stuff, and you look at like how many people he wrestled. Of course, I had to go through some shoot interviews this week because he was one of the kings of the shoot interviews. He was just a tell it like it is. He talked about, I watched one where he talked about like his friendship and his love he had for Nancy Benoit. Just the time when WWE bought ECW. And I don't know if y'all got a chance to read his the end of his bio, like his what you call that page, the last page in your book.
Yeah.
it was on brand. and
Okay.
I'll close with that. Yeah, it was on brand.
Oh, I can only imagine. Wonderful words. Now, brother Guy, you, my friend, were independent before independent wrestling was cool, right? It's one of the things that you always were an advocate for wrestling outside of what we saw on TV, and I always applaud you for that. Like I said, at one point in the early years, we, when we did a different adaptation of this show, we tried to bring you on board to do the independent report, which was supposed to be like some type of weekly or monthly segment, but with independent wrestling being the way that it was, so erratic and all over the place, it was difficult to do that. But you were the main one that always found a way to incorporate or talk about or bring up, what was going on in the independent scene. And Sabu was no stranger to the independents. I mean, when I say global superstar, you know what I mean? Sabu is like it was like a stray dog that's like, he can't settle in for too long. After a while, he's going to have to keep moving, get back to the road again. He was never with one promotion for too long. Something always like after a while, he'd be like, I've been here too long. I got to shake things up, and I think and I have a newfound respect for that type of career because my boys are going through it. The Good Brothers, right? They've been signed with WWE. That's right. I found a way to bring them up this week. That's right.
I knew it was coming. God.
Yeah.
Oh, I was waiting for it.
So it's like I like them. Like I want them to be successful in WWE, but it's like now that they're back out there, I'm like, you know what? This is just made for them. You know what I mean? It works where they just get to be themselves, and it's like they're never with one company for too long outside of New Japan, obviously. But they're just better when they're free and not locked down and no restrictions. And that's how I felt about Sabu. And you were one of the pioneers of the early friend group that say, hey, we got to get into these other things. And Sabu was no stranger to a lot of those spaces that you often talked about. So give us a reflection about what you remember the most about Sabu, first time you saw him, first time he made an impact, first time anything that you specifically remember, Sabu being who he was.
So it was crazy that you would say that because back in, and I'm gonna take people back to this time, hardcore matches were like death matches, bloody, gory, almost unbearable to watch. And one thing about Sabu, his hardcore matches felt cool. They felt different. They felt more entertaining. He leaned more on the, yes, death defying, but I'm gonna give you the death defying that's gonna have you talking about it. Because anybody can go out there and bleed, anybody can go out there and take chair shots, can get hit with light poles. But what can I do to make you remember it? And if anybody really want to see a match that you should remember, and it's crazy because you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. 2005 Turning Point in TNA, him versus
Yes.
Abyss.
Favorite
That
Sabu
barbed
era.
wire, yeah, that barbed wire match. First, if you think about it, that was the first time we got to see a barbed wire match mainstream. Now, of course, New Japan did it, all the indies were doing it, but now we got to see it in a television production. And how do you do it? And I remember just saying,
On
not necessarily
Sxicidal.
being cringy, yeah, but you're like, oh, this match is really going to deliver. And not to sound cliche, and a lot of people like to use these terms, but if you think about Sabu's career, if RVD was the heart of a ECW, he was the soul because
Facts.
the
Well put.
soul of ECW was hardcore. Yes, RVD might have had the wrestling and entertainment side, but you can't say ECW or hardcore without saying Sabu because he has credited so many things. People have credited him for so many things because when you go back and watch, RVD career doesn't exist without Sabu. Taz's career doesn't exist without Sabu. I would even go as far as to say Sandman, um, um,
Abyss.
Abyss, Terry Funk, all of these guys had a resurgence, but you got in the ring with him. He brought an energy out of you, and he brought something. That's why I'm not trying to sound cliche, but he really was the soul of hardcore wrestling because it wasn't just a cheer shot, not getting bloody. And if you go back and watch even his time in WCW, which a lot of people forgot, it was still doing cool stuff in a hardcore way. So that's the one thing I think that people missed out on because, like, the first introduction was him jumping off of the Raw sign, like Hollywood said. But then we forgot going toe to toe with John Cena, going toe to toe, different things. One night stand with Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio pulled a different side of him that we hadn't seen in Rey since Rey Mysterio Jr. days. So he
Yeah.
had that ability to bring that out of you. And if you ever get a chance, and I employ everybody, go back to that Turning Point match with him and Abyss, and you'll see what I mean by the soul. And no matter where Abyss went, and a lot of people don't realize that he traveled a lot. He was even part of the NWA territory in Florida where he was recognized as their champion. Not a lot of people remember that. A lot of other promotions like XPW, he was their champion and hardcore champion. And it was, is it BCW or B? It was a B promotion. He was not only their world champion, but their hardcore champion. And it just shows somebody with that ability can captivate those, whether it's 20 people, 200 or 2,000. He was there. And I'm so glad that he got a WrestleMania moment as being part of the ECW originals and was
Yes.
able to showcase because it was like, all of his hard work that he had done. And to hear people talk about the great things that he'd done. But just go back and watch any of those matches that we talked about. He was definitely the soul of hardcore wrestling.
Well put, brother guy. Brother Hugh. Sabu. The homicidal, genocidal. Not sure we can say the other word, but the legacy that he left behind, the impact that he made. No pun intended, because he was in TNA. But brother Hugh, what are your favorite recollections or first memories of Sabu?
Well, dang, Brandon, you pretty much said everything. But from
He
my
kind of went in.
perspective,
He kind of
he
went in.
did, and I'm
Yeah.
not mad at him. It was perfect, well said. But for me personally, I remember seeing him when I was younger, and I was just like, who's this guy? Like, who is he? Like, he's flying everywhere, and he was just very captivating. His style, always just doing some insane type move, and then you throw the aspect of the hardcore aspect into it. Is like, dang, this is something that you rarely see on, of course, WWE at that point in time, because of course everybody knows I'm a WWE baby. I was brought up on that WWE WCW, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me,
Nothing to be
I
ashamed of.
saw I saw him in a couple matches,
Be
but
ashamed
once
of.
again, like I said, I didn't really understand or really know who he was because I couldn't find him. I had the same issue that I had with TNA a couple years ago. I could never seem to find when they would air their shows, like ECW would air their shows,
Yep.
right? So I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
access to it. But once you figure that out, actually, I remember him. I remember looking him up because, like I said, I saw him before, but I can't remember what game it was, but it was on a couple of SmackDown games. They actually had his taunt in the creative player or creative
Mm.
wrestler thing, and I was like, "What the heck is that? Who is that?" Then I just happened to see a clip one day. I was like, "Oh, that's him." So I started looking at his. That's who that is. So I started looking him up, man. I was like, "Bruh, this guy's it. This guy's it." You talking about the innovative of extreme? Without him, you don't get guys like a Jeff Hardy. You don't get guys like the RVDs and everybody else that was in ECW at that time. This guy, I remember him when he was fighting Terry Funk and Sabu. That's what I mean. Sabu and Terry Funk, they killed it all the
Mhm.
time. This man went up and wrapped himself in barbed wire. Who
Bro.
was doing craziness like that at that point in time? You
Right.
see what I'm saying? And it was actually being televised. Like, man, he's definitely missed, but his legacy lives on for sure. And that's the
Well
only way you
said,
can
brother.
put it.
You.
Literally.
Well freaking said. Man, man, man. Oh boy. Wonderful things, man. I guess it's my turn. I promise I won't take long about this, but you guys brought up all great moments and memories about Sabu, man. I'm just like Brian H. I remember Sabu first and foremost from the magazines, right? You see him in the magazines. He was all over all the you had the WWF magazine, and then you had like Pro Wrestling Illustrated. But back in the day, there were so many just different wrestling magazines that were out. It was I can't even think. It was like World of Wrestling, Wow, and it was a bunch of them. That was just the way it was. And man, in any section that didn't have WWE or WCW, obviously, you saw ECW sprinkled in there. And man, I the first time I really saw Sabu was I guess the ECW infomercials. I don't know, I don't know where I saw them or why, but I guess I was watching something. I don't know if it was cable access TV or whatever it was, but I remember they had the ECW infomercials on a loop, and they had like this loop of showing you like random, they had like a montage of extreme stuff with the ECW, music in the background, and of course you see Sabu doing some insane things, right? And the first time I really got a chance to really experience him up close and personal outside of going back and watching his old stuff in the 90s was, like you said, TNA. I loved everything he did in TNA. That was during the time where I was rooting for TNA. I wanted TNA to be successful. And when I first discovered TNA, I said TNA reminds me of, like, in my mind, I was like, everybody, this is post Attitude Era. This is when, the brands had merged and everybody was kind of, it was a mishmash of guys that we knew of that were no longer with WWE, but all my favorites who I still like that weren't in WWE were in TNA from ECW and WCW. So I was like, I'm kind of feeling this. And Sabu was one of those guys. His feud with Abyss made me, I never liked Abyss because I said he looks like he's trying to be Undertaker and Mankind put together. So I never liked him. And then his feud that he had with Abyss made me respect Abyss. Like, Abyss could have hung with the ECW guys back because he was the only one that was still living like that. He was barbed wire massacres, monsters ball matches. Like, Abyss and Sabu's feud was, man, it's still one of my favorites to this day. Sabu was the kind of guy, he can get in the ring with everybody, right? He can get in the ring with guys his size, double his size, even his short time in WWE when Rob Van Dam kind of went out and he became the face of ECW. It was always him and Big Show were always the main event. And man, was I root for Sabu really, really hard, before they got suspended for speeding while weeding, brother. But Sabu's just his his moveset was always innovative. I will watch Sabu's matches, and I would say for some reason that he never has rules on his matches. He would come in there, he would throw a chair at your face. Like he just did, like it was like one of the first things he did. He would get in the ring. First of all, the lights would go out. He'd point up. You see him in the ring. Everybody goes nuts. And he has a chair with him. He's got a nail spike in his boot that he got that from the original Sheik, and I'm sure we'll see more about that on the latest Dark Side of the Ring. He would have a chair. He would fold up a chair, throw it at your face, and then he would jump off. He would flip over the ropes. He would do a jumping leg drop with the chair under him. He would flip. He would set up tables outside, flip over the ring onto the table, and it was just such an exciting move set. And it's like to what Brother Guy and Brother Hugh was saying, like it was captivating. Like he was so quick, he was so fast. It was like, what is he doing? And he just had no care. And then you heard all the war stories. You saw all the scars on his arms. You see the old clips of the barbed wire matches. You hear the rumors of he splits his arm open, has another match, and super glues it shut. And it's like, man, this guy's tough as nails. But man, such a polarizing figure, such a memorable character in all of professional wrestling. And like I said, he had his last match at 60. You know what I mean? And you could just tell he laid it all on the line. And may God definitely rest his soul. But Sabu's always one of my favorites, always somebody that I had to have in my collection of toys and action figures of him from every company that he was with, except TNA, because I didn't like their figures from Toy Business. So. But Sabu will always, like you said, his impact and his imprint in the industry will always be felt. Although, we don't see matches like Hugh has before, but that's what makes him so unique. We'll never see another Sabu. We'll never see anybody close to it. So like you talk about the hardcore legends of yesteryear. When Terry Funk became Terry Funk of Extreme, we never saw another version of anybody like Terry Funk. When you saw Mick Foley, we never saw anybody like Mick Foley. And say, like, if there's a hardcore Hall of Fame, what I mean? I'm deaf. It's like it's Mick
Mount
Foley.
Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore, excuse me. If it's Mick Foley, Sabu, Terry Funk, and then insert whoever you want to put after that. And it's like, and it's not about how they did the matches, but they were so unique that's like we'll never see another Sabu, right? We'll never see another Mick Foley. We'll never see another version of Terry Funk like that. You know what I mean? And then the stuff we went back and watched. I loved one of my favorite matches. His last match was Rhino at ECW One Night Stand, and they both would carry that feud over into TNA because they both got fired around that time. I don't think Sabu was with the company, because this is before that whole situation, But they would carry that feud right into TNA. You know what I mean? And then you think about Sabu versus Taz. They have that whole feud. You could, if you are not sure who Sabu is, you can go on WWE Vault. They have one of those hour-long put-togethers, and they'll tell you about the feud of the story of Taz and Sabu and ECW. If you watch that, you'll understand that man. Never a promo guy, never said a word, right? Never on the microphone. None of those things. But he was so unique. He was so fun. He was definitely innovative in everything that he did. Just this countless matchups around the world. I mean, I have spent years watching Sabu stuff on almost every YouTube platform. Anything I can get, it never gets old unless he has bad gear. I don't like it when he wore like colorful pants and colorful boots. Not my thing. But I think I was upset when he cut his hair bald and showed up in TNA one time. But God is good. He grew his hair back. You know what I mean? So that last match he had, it was still the same Sabu. And of course, how does Sabu retire in a barbed wire match at 60 years old? Tough as nails. So, like I said, as we move on, we wrap this up.
Hey, I didn't mean to laugh, but I remember just him coming to the ring with the chair and just throwing it at you. I'm like, oh, so we don't have. It just used to come out of nowhere, like just smack in the face with the chair. He would just throw it at you.
Bro, he would just look at you and throw it at you. Like he would pose first real quick. Like, hold on, let me get my pose in. Up, here he comes. Throw right at your face.
Right at your face. Man, like you had to know it was coming.
I'm gonna go watch Sabu stuff now. So the worst part about Sabu, honestly, had to be Bill Alfonso and that whistle. I just, if anybody knows Bill Alfonso in legendary ECW manager, former referee turned manager, that whistle used to kill. Like he would blow that whistle to no end during the matches. I couldn't stand that part.
Tell him. Here, go ahead. Tell him realness. Tell him you.
Tell him
he's still blowing the whistle, isn't he?
Yeah, he's still doing his thing. He's over where is it?
Um,
Uh, AWA, Assault Wrestling Asylum.
yes,
Oh
Ooh,
wow,
with the same ECW jacket on,
the
the
same
God,
same
shit.
getting interfered with the matches,
Yeah,
still a manager trying to get the most
yeah.
heat on him, not his person, but he's got a lot of
Yeah,
heat.
he's
He's
still
trying to
going.
get, yeah, he's still happening.
God
Right
bless
out
Bill
with Waldorf.
Alphonse.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's got to be like 360 in wrestling years, but he's still going.
Wow. We can sit here all day and talk about Sabu and Bill Alfonso and their shenanigans, but I hope we did it some justice, taking the time out to reflect such a legend in this industry and just his global impact on professional wrestling. So, like I said, one last time for the one time, we definitely we remember, Sabu Terry Brunk. May his soul rest in peace, and like I said, our prayers, our thoughts, concerns are with his family, his friends, and like I said, his endless amount of fans around the world. So yeah, I hope we did it justice. I think we did a good job, fellas. Now I'm gonna go watch. I know for a fact. Like I talked myself into watching Sabu stuff even more. I watched it before. I'm gonna watch it again just to celebrate. So
Mhm.
like I said, not to transition from such a somber situation, because we're kind of celebrating Sabu. We're going to talk about something else that also happened this week. We experienced, good brothers, WWE Backlash, and we have to talk about the results. Now, last week we did a preview show where we discussed some of the things because you guys sold me on it, and I appreciate that. Not that I didn't want to see it, but you guys added different layers to what was going on and made me go, now I want to pay that much more attention. But now
Mhm.
we're here to review the show in itself. It's because there's a lot of subtleties that happen. It's a lot of storytelling, as Brother Hugh made it very, very clear. Like, okay, I see where they're going. And we're here to talk about it because who better, the wrestling realm, to educate you wrestling fans on these little things that I'm noticing that this era of Triple H regime, the Netflix era, however you want to, call it, has done intentionally, with these B-level pay-per-views, these, as I call them, these to be continues. So let's just start all the way at the top. How did you guys enjoy this year's WWE Backlash 2025?
Oh, my brother, testify. I said
Oh
it.
boy.
Whenever I don't expect it, it delivers. And Backlash, and I was telling Brother Hugh this, Backlash is becoming my favorite pay-per-view now. Outside of the big four, Backlash
Wow.
has it's revitalized my thought because I was so tired of automatic rematches because sometimes they delivered and they didn't. But these last 3 years has renewed my faith in Backlash. This is going to be the pay-per-view that I'm most excited for now. So every year has gotten better, and this year did not disappoint. I was so happy that each match felt different, and I didn't feel like I could get up from the TV. I felt like I had to keep watching it. Like I didn't watch it live. I sat there and watched it on Sunday morning, and I felt like I can't get like my clothes stopped, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta get clothes out of the wash machine." I was like, "Nope, I gotta keep watching. I might miss something." I felt so glued, invested in each of these matches that thank you that Backlash has now become so great, and it's not a footnote, it's not a transition. It is actually a premium live event.
Mm. High praise from the guy. Listen to me. People, I know you don't think this is a big deal, but you don't understand. We lived through the ruthless aggression era. We did not get this
Oh,
much positivity out of brother guy. Like
we
No.
got a lot of wrestling comas.
listen to me. It was never. I don't remember a moment that gone past where you were just happy about what you watched completely. It was always like, why did it have to be this? And of course, we enjoyed the show, but we always felt like it could get better. So to hear you, give so much, like just the fact that you enjoyed this much, brother, guys, like man, people have to understand how impactful that is, and we have to rate at some point, how well the Triple H era is doing. So, all right, high praise from the Belt King. Um, how about you, brother Hugh? How did you feel overall about Backlash? Now, brother Guy has said this is starting to be the one premium live event that he's looking forward to every year. That's a big deal because Backlash has gotten his luster back though. But how did you feel about this year's Backlash in St. Louis?
Well, I mean, remember last week I was the guy talking about, look, I'm not really that excited about this PLE. I mean, it
That
is what
was
it
you.
is. It's wrestling. I'm gonna watch it. Hey, okay, it is what it is. I missed it live,
Mhm.
but when I went back and rewatched that, I watched it twice actually.
Oh my
I
goodness.
went back and rewatched it. And I was like, what? I wasn't expecting it to hit like this.
Hmm.
It hit on all cylinders. Every
Wow.
match, every
What's
single one
going
of them.
on?
And I'm like, WWE has found a way to kind of like just keep you captivated in all of the stories with a perfect blend of sports entertainment and actual wrestling now. In
Mm.
every single one of their matches, every single one of their matches are entertaining, like really entertaining. You don't have any dry matches or what we call them bathroom breaks anymore, ever.
Yep.
And it's been like that for what the last two years now.
Mhm.
So I'm like, man, look, I was surprised. This there's so many little nuggets within the storytelling of each and every match that we can.
He ain't lying.
But man, I was impressed. I was impressed. So
Oh wow.
uh,
Well,
yeah.
listen, we're 2 for 2 so far. I praise from Brother Hugh. Championship culture's feeling it this year. Brian H. Let's see. Are you going to be a heel? Are you going to be a heel today? Because
Of course
now
he
this.
is.
Okay, you know what?
Hollywood.
There's your intro, Brian H. I mean, I'm nervous now. Talk to me. How did you? Now
No.
you're the historian. You're
Mhm.
the Backlash connoisseur. You're the guy that goes back and watches the previous Backlash from the heydays of the 99s and the 2000s, 2001. So we know you have very high standards for WWE Backlashers. But how did you feel this year about Backlash? Is Backlash back to the level that we remember during those time periods? I'm asking because you would know. You're the historian about this, brother guy. Has the third, they're feeling it. How about you?
I mean, it was good. I enjoyed it. They did what they were supposed to do. They stopped me in my tracks for the main
Mm,
event, right? I
okay.
was over my cousin, shout out to Fur, it was over his birthday cookout. And I was standing there talking with my cousin Akeisha, and we sitting there and I'm looking at the time. I said, all right, it is my cue to go because I need to be sitting for this main event.
Oh boy.
And it delivered. I got what I wanted out of it, but I went back. I was looking at some of the matches throughout the show. I mean, throughout the cookout, but then I went back and rewatched them, and I enjoyed it. That Jacob Fatu is a bad, you know what, but he got
He ain't lying.
his hands full.
Bro.
He don't know it yet.
2. Oh boy, we gotta talk about that.
Yeah,
You do.
so and I couldn't wait to get here. That's why I did a episode Sunday of break it down with Brian H. Where I broke down the what I think is going to happen. To kind of get the people teased up before we came on here Wednesday night. But yeah, I enjoyed the show. They made the international crowds are a different level, but I'll
Of course.
say.
Yeah.
They did their thing. St. Louis showed up and showed out. Good wrestling town.
Okay. All right. So goodness
And I
gracious.
will say it, realness, I'm
Yeah, go
sorry.
ahead, brother guy. Mhm.
One thing overall, and I think what helps these PLEs now, the commentators are part of the story. It's just
Bingo.
not calling the match. Because and I know we're gonna get a Jacob out too. Michael Cole made me more vested in it because he was saying what I was thinking. And throughout the night, it just felt like Wade Barrett. I think that was his arrival. Wade Barrett said, "No, I'm here too. You can talk about how great Michael Cole is. You can talk about how good the other ones are, but hey, you're gonna put me in this conversation now." And Wade Barrett definitely did his thing on Saturday.
I told you guys. What didn't I say last week that Wade Barrett was underrated? Him and Joe Test is an underrated combination. When they do the 3-person commentary and they have Wade Barrett and Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, as a wrestling fan, listening to that, like that's what fun is because Wade Barrett is such a character, but he's so serious about it. Like he reminds me of superstar Billy Graham. I mean, no, excuse me, Jesse Ventura. They got the same poses from the 60s. Sorry, 60s and 70s.
The tie-dyes.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Right.
He reminds me of Jesse Ventura, how he was back in the day, where it's like you listen to him, you're like, this guy can't be serious, but you look at him, you're like, oh no, he's actually serious. But yeah, man, Backlash. Like I said, you guys did a good job on getting your boy rather enthused about the show, and I was looking forward to it, and I was pleasantly surprised. One of the subtle nuances that you guys mentioned about Backlash is like when you watch, you don't realize that you're not paying attention to anything else that's going around you but what you're listening and what you're seeing. Now, I say that is if you're watching a show and it's not good, it's easy for you to get distracted, right? If something's not good, if you go to a stand-up comedy show, if you go to a movie you don't like, you're watching a show, even in professional wrestling, if you're watching a match you're just not into, you can find other things to do. But I've noticed that there's so much going on that taps into the senses, what I'm listening to, commentary, what I'm seeing, that it purposely pulls your attention to what you're watching. And you're like, I can't look away because if I feel like if I do, I'm going to miss something. I think that's one of the things that I think Triple H, as far as his creative approach to doing things and telling stories, he has opted to go in that direction versus let's put on the greatest show on earth as previous regime, as Vince used to do. Aesthetically, I'm not a fan of how it looks. I can honestly say that. It's because when you watch Ruthless Aggression era, everything looks so big, so massive, big lights, big sets. But this whole dark look and the same kind of entrance, understandably so, because you fit more people into the arena. That's the only thing that doesn't make me feel like it's a big deal. But it's like you would come to the show to see that stuff before, and then sometimes the matches were predictable or they live up to it. Versus in this situation, in this era, you watch shows like Backlash, like, okay, it doesn't jump off the page directly at me at first, but I'll sit back and I watch. And then before you know it, you're engulfed in the entire show. And you're like, bro, what just happened? And then now you have all these talking points, all these things that you notice, all these little nuggets that they're planning, because these are, as I call them, the to be continued PLEs. This is just to move the storylines to the next thing. And it's like, you have no room to complain about what's going on because you're too busy trying to put the pieces together, but you can't right then and there. You got to wait for the next chapter. That's what I feel like we're getting when I see Backlash. And man, this year was no different. And we might be able to get out of here early, but let's just talk about it. Where do you guys want to go first when it comes to this particular PLA? What match do you want to start with? Because
Just
so
do
many
the,
things
just
happen.
do the match order. Just go with the.
I was
Yeah,
about to say, first of all, we're not getting out of here early. You know that. But yeah, let's
Don't
start with
speak
Jacob
that
Fox.
into existence out early tonight.
I always try. So thank you, brother. I get what you're saying, but I always try, and I'm not good at it, but I'm trying to put my best foot forward. I saw the time. I said, maybe we'll be able to do this, and but since you want to put it out there, I don't want to be held responsible for it, but I want you all to know I'm trying. So first match of the card. Thank you. What was the first match? I don't even remember.
The Fatal 4-Way.
Fatal
4-Way.
Oh boy, man.
Oh,
stories on top of stories.
Brother Hugh, go ahead. I like when you start chattering about this because I can tell you got something to say. Let's start. Let's start with this.
Let it rip.
Back to the side. Here we go.
What'd you say, brother Brandon? This is the way that Fatal 4-Way should be done.
Yes.
This is perfect, man. The whole setup of the match was. I hate to keep saying perfect, but it was on point, literally. Like just the what was it? Damian Priest and Drew. They went off, did their own thing halfway throughout the match. You're telling that story still carrying on with that. You still have the LA Knight and Jacob, the story being told in the ring. LA Knight he did his thing too. I ain't gonna lie.
Whoa.
He kept up with them boys.
Who?
I'll tell you one thing. He might not. Go ahead.
Time out. I'm sorry. I do not mean to interrupt, but weren't you the guys last week that when I said you got 3 established stars and a newcomer, you said 2.5? I was like, wait a minute. Where's all this coming from?
Possible.
There you go. 2 and a possible. Yeah. What are we talking about, brother? You talk to us. What you said, LA Knight doing his thing.
What I noticed is when it comes down to like regular SmackDown matches, this and that, whatever, he doesn't really deliver the way he should be.
Okay.
On your regular episodic TV series, right? But when it comes to the PLEs, he turns it up to another level. And I'm like, who is this dude? Where did he come from? Right?
Yeah.
And he shows off with the best of them. And then when you put him in there with a guy like Jacob,
Yep.
Jacob made the match. Like literally.
He's a dog.
He made the match. There was no way he was going to lose that title to
Yeah.
anybody. I don't care if Solo came out or whoever else came out. It wasn't going to happen.
Blood.
Right? Right?
He's smart.
But
Yeah.
what I like the most about the match is the introduction of Jeff Cobb. And since we didn't do this segment earlier,
Mhm.
what I've been watching was a bunch of Jeff Cobb matches doing my
They
homework
got
on
you.
him. Yeah, I've been doing my
Let's
homework.
talk about it.
Right? Because I've seen him before,
Mhm.
but once again, it's one of those things. It's like, all right, when can you really catch him? For me,
Right.
like anyway, just being always busy and he's jumping around to different promotions.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I watched the match with him and Walter. Amazing.
Walter.
Him and Jonah, crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And what got me is dude is 5'10", almost 300 pounds.
Mhm.
And the guy, he can move like crazy. He's very agile. He
Yep.
reminds you of a Jacob Fatu and kind of like a mixture of a Cesaro with his power.
Okay.
Like he just has this natural strength, like pound for pound. He's just crazy with it with the strength. That's his move. That's
Right.
it. He's an Olympian, so he
Mhm.
can hit you with the ground and pound. He can go and hit you with any type of submission. He can be a technical wrestler. He can do all that. He's been in New Japan. He can hit you with the strikes. He's very versatile with his different styles, right?
Mhm.
Then you put him in the ring with a guy like Will Ospreay in New Japan. I watched that match also. Will Ospreay doesn't slow down.
No.
Tell me why this guy kept up with him the whole time. 300 pounds almost.
Right.
Doing the same daggone moves. Double standing backflips. Diving
Wow.
off the top rope, over the top rope. Oh, like I'm like, what? You talking about? I remember when Jacob Fatu first came into the WWE. I was talking about, look, I want to see him and Kevin Owens. That's it. That's my
Mhm.
match.
Yeah.
That's what I still want to see that. But now we have to go and run this back because I watched their match in what was it? Defy.
Mhm.
We have to run this back. Jeff Cobb and Jacob Fatu. That's gonna be something crazy. I can't wait to see it.
There's so
It's gonna
many
be something
talking
crazy.
points. There's so many talking points to this, man. I'm trying. I'm glad we started with this first. Boy. So you unpacked quite a few things, including the debut of Jeff Cobb. Now, tidbit before I move to the next individual, I did not see this coming.
Nope.
There's no way in the world. I always knew Solo was up to something, but I didn't even think, oh yeah, they're gonna bring Jeff Cobb and put him in to be Solo's next heater. And I was like, okay, now we got some
2
things.
backlashes in a row, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Hugh's Tribal
Right.
Chief made his debut.
Yeah, you're
True.
right. He's coming back soon.
And shout out to Tonka Loa. I love the Gorillas of Destiny. And
Yeah.
the crazy part is, it's like, even in like Brother Guy was saying, how The Rock got the fussing with Joe LaGreca. I keep bringing this up on social media.
Dave McGregor.
Dave LaGreca. What did I say, Joe? I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Dave LaGreca. Thank you, producer. You're on point.
We'll just call him
And-
Mark.
Well, he goes off, and I'm glad he went off. It's because what I heard was a wrestling fan. I didn't hear an industry guy. He was pissed. He was a pissed wrestling fan, and The Rock was like, "Listen, you got to get used to the new way, brother. There's no such thing as turning it off. In the interviews, on social media, it never ends. And I don't know if it was meant to make him look kind of goofy, because now he's like, oh shoot, I got worked. You know what I mean? But when Jacob Fatu got his press conference, he's like, look, man, I don't know what's going on. We haven't had a conversation about this. So we got to figure this out. But because of their history, we know there's a history there, because like you said, the way he looked at Jeff Cobb, like the same way they looked at him, like, bro, what are you doing here? The same way they looked at Solo when he showed up. What is he doing here? When Jacob, what are you doing here? And now here we go again. History's repeating itself, because I think Solo knows what time it is. But But yeah, I mean, I just had to get that out. I'm sorry. There's a lot to get into when it comes to this. But how about you, Brian H? How did you feel about this match right here? The Fatal 4-Way, Jacob Fatu, the star.
I mean, I liked it. I really liked, like you said, the story, but especially like Priest and Drew McIntyre. Those guys, they get like, I mean, the best thing for Drew McIntyre was CM Punk's return.
Yeah,
He unlocked a new side of him.
bingo.
That I'm pretty sure there's probably people backstage saying, "Yo, we've been waiting for that side to come out of you for a long time."
Yeah, it makes him untouchable.
Yeah,
Like he could lose a match and it's not going to hurt him. So it's like
Mhm.
that's like the ultimate iron in professional wrestling, where it's like if you to a point where whether you win or lose, it doesn't matter. It's like, bro, your career can last forever.
And he's so good that, like, he plays his character so well that he's like, I'm not a heel or babyface. So he could do the charity work. He could sit up there. He'll be the nicest person to the kids and then tell them, but I hate CM Punk. Don't be like Punk. And now that's going to carry on with Priest. And, people can make the assumption that it was an accident. It was a happy accident of, Priest beating him. Then he getting cost the title and then they left it alone and revisit. I think it was all done on purpose. I think it's that much meticulous thought that went into that. And that's the reason why I think they were both in this match together. I do like Brother Hugh said everything need to be said about the fact about Jacob Fatu and Jeff Cobb. So man, we rolling, we steamrolling.
So this is an interesting tidbit that you dropped, Brian H. So you're saying that in the Fatal 4-Way, this was just an excuse to get Drew and Damian Priest into the next chapter of their story. Bro, that's what I'm talking about. Who does that? Like, this is like, okay, listen, we're going to do a Fatal 4-Way, so it makes everybody look like a big deal. Now, clearly, only one person can win the match. Fatu's clearly the star. So how do you make everybody important? And it's like, no, wait, we're just really putting these other guys in the matches just to get them to the next chapter of their story. Like you said, they went off and did their own thing. So I'm just like, man, that's what I'm saying when I say these subtle nuances, though. Oh boy, brother guy, talk to us. How did you feel about this?
The match was so great, and it was so funny because when Michael Cole, I don't remember exactly what he said, but for the first probably half of the match, he said, "Yeah, because Jacob Fatu can't get going," or something like that. Like he was taking all of the everything, and they were going after him, showing that we got to take this guy down one way or the other. And the thing I can appreciate with the multi-person matches now, because we saw it at WrestleMania with the triple threat, now we're seeing it with a Fatal 4-Way. There is no, you get out the ring and sit there while we do this. No, everybody was doing something all the time. And it was, when I say something, it was crazy because when you look at the match, how do we get rematches, but they're remixed? These are WrestleMania rematches, but it's a remix of it because they even said it. Damian talking about, oh, I'm gonna be a 2-time US champion. What you call it? LA Knight saying he trying to be a 3-time champion. And then you had Drew, I've never been US champion, and I should be taking him on one. And you're like, wait a minute, that is true. He hasn't been US champion, and so it kind of got you thinking. But the crazy part is nobody expected the Jeff Cobb situation because of the history there. But also, it's crazy, and I'm gonna say what you said about Drew. Drew is so dangerous. He's just as dangerous with a microphone as he is when the bell rings, which makes him untouchable. Because Drew, he's going to do no wrong as long as he's a WWE superstar. And I think what was more important was the look of Jeff Cobb being there, but because remember, Damien and what you call it is now over there doing that thing. But Drew will find a way to have a beef with him. Drew will find a way to have beef with him. So Jeff Cobb is the wild card, and I don't think that we really know which way we're going to go with him. But like you said, they're not going to make us feel like we're stupid. They're going to start telling about their history. And Jeff Cobb is the last indie darling that was out there that was still doing the things of the indie darlings. Because wasn't he supposed to got pulled at first, and then they was on a hiring freeze and he couldn't. So this might be his homecoming, and he might get the rocket strapped on his back. But I sent you a picture. He's out eating dinner with Bronson Reed.
No. 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 That's like natural disasters extreme. I'm not even gonna say 2.0.
But I can tell you this match, the thing I enjoyed about this match, it didn't give you a chance to breathe. Because if it wasn't something happening, the commentators were helping it. But it
Bingo.
was so good because I want them to just cut the training wheels of Jacob, because we know when I say cut the training wheels, MLW Jacob 5'2" was
No.
on level 10. This
You
is
can't
like
do
level
that.
6.
He'll be world
We need
champion
to
if you do that.
give us to like an 8. Get us to 8. I know we ain't gonna get to 10, but give us the 8. Like you could tell they say after you hit this, stop, sell it. You know what I mean?
You get to an 8, he's got to beat Jey Uso for the world title. That's how good he is. You get him to an 8, he's going to be world champion.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing that you got a whole talent back. Don't worry, Oscar has the same problem, so it is what it is.
And you see it with EO, Julia,
yes, all
even
of them holding
Stephanie.
back.
You see all, like you could tell when they ready to go, they're like, nope, I gotta stop. Hold on, I gotta let the match breathe. Gotta let them react. So, because that main event of Raw shows, you gotta hold on, stop it, don't do that. But I will say, Friday is going to be interesting because we're going to see all kinds of stuff, and maybe we don't see Drew and Damian because of that spot that they had. Is Drew okay? I know they said he hit his head. I haven't seen anything saying that he's not okay. Okay, so he should be fine. But this is going to be interesting. And LA Knight, he delivers, and I agree with you 100%. He delivers in these big matches. A SmackDown match is like, what is this man doing? But PLEs, okay, I see why he still has a job.
You know the crazy part about you guys talk about Jeff Cobb is Jeff Cobb was around during that, like I said, in my mind, 2015, 16, 17, 18 era where everybody thought he was going to be up next. And I remember when he signed with New Japan, like I remember I think it was his extension or something. Everybody's like, wait a minute. Everybody just assumed once he kind of got over, he was going to go straight to WWE, but he stayed out there for a lot longer than anybody anticipated. And to be honest with you, I thought he got looked over because so many other new stars that kind of came up, after him that, would move on to WWE and later AEW before Jeff Cobb. And that was kind of shocking to me. So it's like, I don't want to say that he was an afterthought, but at his hottest, at his peak, I thought he was going to, like, okay, this is Jeff Cobb is the hottest indie star. It's around the same time him and Ricochet was still out there, and I was like, well, there's not that many out there anymore. You know what I mean? Like WWE was snatching them all off the global stage, but he stayed out there. You know what I mean? It was him, and after a while, it was just him and Will Ospreay and stuff like that. And then so many other, so much new talent kind of came up after that. But I guess he to me he became such an afterthought. So even when they mentioned him,
that indie darling, he was the last of that breed.
He literally was, because he was there like when it was hot, and I was like, "Oh, Jeff Cobb's going to jump ship anytime soon." He was one of those names, and when he had a chance to, and the rumors are going around like, "Hey, he might go," he didn't. So to see him get an opportunity,
remember that was during the time they didn't hire anybody. That was during the WWE freeze, but that was also NXT was changing too. So it was probably like, where does he go? Also, because it's like, does he take him to NXT and then he becomes George Michael or something and lose his name, or does he wait and still stay as Jeff Cobb?
You call him George Michael though.
Why George Michael? Yeah,
I don't know. That was the most generic name I could think of because his music would be creative player number 13.
He said
he looks nothing like a George Michael.
And that's the point.
I mean, would his music sound something like this?
You thought like
That's all you're gonna get.
He probably would have a button-up shirt that came down to here and his hair slicked back under the old regime.
Oh my goodness, that's a disaster. Well, thank God for Triple H. But yes, this is once again a to be continued moment. But we got to move on to the next match. What was the second match? I don't remember. It was what?
Women's match.
Becky,
right? Wasn't the ladies?
Becky and I was going to say Ivy now. Lyra Kibber.
I was about to say Bird Lady.
So, did anybody else expect Lyra Valkyria to retain? Now, here's where I think, this is my opinion, this is where I think they threw us for a loop, like on purpose. I think that Triple H knows wrestling fans, right? And he goes, okay, look, they're probably expecting me just to say, okay, we're going to add names to this intercontinental legacy. And Becky Lynch names needs to be a part of this lineage. So we're going to give her a run with the title real quick. That sounds like something we will come up with as fans because it's something that we used to see. And I feel like because they know that, they do these things on purpose. Like, okay, cool, we screwed somebody. Everybody knows Bayley got booted out of the match. So let's put her in a situation because they're just going to think that's what's going to happen anyway, because that's what looks like the path that we're going down. Only for the young girl to retain. And I'm like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Now, is it just me or did anybody else see that coming? Did you guys like, oh, no, I expected her to retain against Becky Lynch, the man out of all people?
No,
I didn't
man.
expect her because I didn't expect it until Lyra started showing a fight because she had that Tiffany vibe. Because remember when Becky fought Tiffany, that's where Tiffany's fight woke up. Lyra had been showing a little grit, and I said, "Oh, Lyra might actually retain," because she was showing her, and Becky was putting her over. So I didn't expect it until the match was happening.
Okay, what were you saying, Brian H?
No, I was gonna say, I just, Lyra took out Becky on a go home. So of course I'm like, oh yeah, she's dropping the title. No way. I love the way it was done though. Becky's still upset, and then obviously that promo she cut on Raw.
Yeah.
Just I didn't like big time Bex at all.
No, we like the man.
I understood why she was big time Bex and why she had to play that character. That was about getting Bianca to where Bianca became super Bianca from 22 to 23.
Because y'all was mad about the squash match. Don't act like y'all wasn't. Y'all was mad.
But it had to happen. We needed it to happen because Becky would have got that return pop, and then they had a match. She would have won, and people would have cheered. But this one, I liked the way it was done. I liked the coming in, teaming with you, and then now I'm about to take you out. And she, like Brother Guy said, she pulled out the fight out of Lyra. This is the Lyra Valkyria. I'm like, why did they put the title on her first? Why?
Yeah. You were not happy about this?
Nah, but and I wasn't screaming for Dakota Kai either. But, that's crazy because the person I wanted to win got cut too. But now I see. I was like, okay. This is what it's about. I thought she was just hyped because it was WrestleMania. Her family was in the States, but nah, she's showing up. She's maintaining, but she's just holding that title nice and warm for Roxanne Perez.
There you go. What about you, Brother Hugh? How did you feel about this match? Did you expect Lyra Valkyria to retain, or did you think the man was going to solidify her lineage by adding the name to another championship?
Well, I mean, looking at it as a fan, like you said, of course I'm gonna think Becky Lynch is gonna win, right? But then if you look at it as a wrestling fan with superior intellect, you got to understand that they built, like Brian just said, they built Lyra. They put the title on her for a reason, and they know that she wasn't really getting over with the fans. And you talk about storytelling. We always talk about storytelling, right? Becky's gonna come out and be like, look, or Lyra's gonna come out and be like, look, you haven't beaten me yet. You know what I'm saying? Like when the big matches, you haven't beaten me. I took you out. That's gonna continue that storyline. Originally, what I thought was absolutely similar to what Tiffany and Charlotte was.
Okay.
All right. So Becky putting over Lyra, it helped boost Lyra's credibility 100%.
There you go.
Because if she would have lost, Lyra's done.
Right, you bury another young girl.
I hate to say it that way. Yeah, I hate to say it that way, but she's done. And then you have the Becky Hogan rumors and stuff on the back end. So that's like, nah, you just don't want that type of energy around your product right now.
There you go.
She can do it down the line. Plus, what happens to Bayley?
True.
You know what I'm saying? You have that whole storyline brewing too. So it was just the right call, 100% to put Lyra over.
So you're definitely saying that this whole Bayley thing is storyline, even the interview on Van Vliet.
Oh, absolutely.
We're all getting worked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Shout out to the ladies. Of course, they put on a show. I'm telling you, Becky and Bayley are two of the best at in Charlotte, I'm not going. Let me stop. In Charlotte, at really creating new stars, and they create stars fast. Is because it's like Tiffany Stratton goes from trying to get the torch passed from Charlotte Flair to all of a sudden now her and Jade are at front and center about to fight for that WWE Championship. I said these are two new girls about to fight for the title, but that goes and that comes from having those strong veterans and those meaningful feuds that make people care about the new characters. I don't know nothing about Tiffany Stratton if it's not for Becky Lynch. I went to NXT to watch her because the man was down there. Like I'm a fan of the man. Like wherever she goes, I'm going to go. Right? It's no different in this situation.
But see, I think that's
Jax is another one. Yep.
That's going to be the issue that we have to think about when it comes to the NXT, the LFG, and I think that's why LFG and Evolve is there to get us to see what the coaches and the people behind the scenes see. That because like we would never see like when Lyra Valkyria debuted at NXT, I was like, who is this woman? I didn't get it. You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh, she beat Becky. Okay, she's the NXT champion. But when she got the Intercontinental title, I was like, come on, get it started. What do you see that we don't? What's taking so long for us to get it? But we have LFG now. We have Evolve that's going to invest us in these people. So that way we don't get a Alien or Dragunov getting the biggest pop at NXT Stand and Deliver. But then when he comes to the main roster, everybody's like, oh.
Who's this guy again?
Okay. Oh, we're supposed to do something? You know, but us NXT fans are excited because we know them. And that's why I think they're starting to not say, I really think that's why the draft is not happening. Because they're going to slowly. They're going to slowly but surely introduce them to see how the crowd reacts. Because Julia got a little ovation with her music hit. And you see, she tried to contain herself. But then it was like, okay, Rhea comes out. Julia, go sit down. You know what I mean? And it was like, to the point it was like, yeah, they know you, but they don't. So
get Julia. Io go sit down. Io's pop was cool. Yeah, and then Rhea, like you said, Rhea came out. I was like, what's that?
Yeah. Io was like, yeah, our champion. It was like, oh my God, it's Rhea Ripley. It was like they went nuts. I was like, oh, okay.
All pops are not created equal
at all.
No pun intended to the millions of Funko Pops around you, brother guy. But moving on to the next match. Who's next? I do not remember the match card. I really don't.
Dominic.
Okay, there we go.
The match I said was going to be the I want to say steal the show.
No, we're putting you on the spot. Go ahead. Did it steal the show or not?
I think it put it like this. It made me look at Dominic Mysterio in a different light, and I had to remember Penta helped train him. So when you have a student and a teacher, that's why it felt so good. And it was like Dominic was like, I'm pretty sure Penta was like, no, we're going to do this. And the stuff that they did, it didn't feel like the same Dominic Mysterio that we've been watching for the last, 5 years now? I mean, pre-COVID, it didn't feel like the same Dominic. It felt like I'm my own person now. I'm going to stand toe-and-toe in this division, and I'm the one to watch now. So, and I give Penta all the credit in the world. I was like, he actually helped. And then, of course, the ending, I'm okay with because we know it's building to. I think this feud is going to help us get to AAA and get us to Worlds Collide. And what's the other one that they're doing now? All three of them. So I'm okay if Penta doesn't get the title. Yeah, I think that this feud is going to continue to entertain us and surprise us. Because even when Which was backstage, he said, "Hey, Americano," and Chad turned around. He's like, "Yeah, you thought you almost got me." So to see that, just to see Dominic Mysterio in that way, I said, "Okay, yep, this is what he needed." That was Dominic's. That was his. Hey, it wasn't a fluke. I wanted Mania. I'm actually a player in this game too.
Good point.
It's going to be the first Mysterio of all time.
What did I say previous to that, Brandon? I was like, look, this is Dominic Mysterio. What? This dude cannot wrestle. Boy, did he shut my mouth up? And you know I like Dominic Mysterio.
You do. He's on record. He likes Mysterio.
Man came out there and did the little swinging tornado DDT off the
off of
the suicide dive. I was like, huh? Okay, you got me. All right, I'm gonna shut up. You right. You can't.
He pulled something out of his bag.
He kept up with Penta, and that's hard to do.
Facts. And I didn't notice. I didn't know that he trained or Penta trained Dominic until you said it, and I was like, oh, it makes sense. It makes sense. But whatever he did, keep doing that, Dominic, for real. Because before that, I was like, bro, your matches were kind of hard to watch. I'm not gonna lie. I like you because you're a heel. I like heels,
Yeah,
you know, and you got the reaction you're supposed to
we
get.
know.
Ah,
The-
But yeah, keep doing that.
the
And I'm kind
crazy.
of tired of Starbucks. But go ahead.
Oh wow, that's not nice.
What?
well, he is a Starbucks drink. I mean, you're not lying.
Just the
Yo.
We broke
Oh,
him.
jeez.
We broke him. You
guys-
got him.
do not.
Yo, we trying to get out here one time. Usually y'all just shenanigans.
Yep,
He
that's
broke 'em.
dead. If you thought you was getting all the time, not anymore, buddy.
It's
Oh,
over.
Starbucks drink. What? Anyways, the crazy part about is Dominic Mysterio. I'm still confused on how you go from being the most booed man in all of professional wrestling, like you can't get a word out, to now people are ready for you. I'm like, they're really cheering for him now. Like he really earned his stripes. Like,
Right?
like it's ridiculous, and it was organic. It wasn't forced. It wasn't storyline. Like that happened naturally. And it's like I was thinking about. I said once the Judgment Day implodes, I said you know how Dominic Mysterio can really get over with like when he's finally on his own. When he's like, all right, we everybody in Judgment Day made a name for themselves. JD, you made a name for yourself. Carlito, you're Carlito, and Dominic Mysterio finally becomes his own man completely. If that man comes out there with in a low rider like Eddie Guerrero, the fans are gonna go insane. If he adds that to his gimmick, now we're like, all right, now I pop out with the low rider. That's part of my thing now. People are gonna go insane. They're gonna love that because one is gonna be a callback and it just fits him. He's already trying to look and dress like him, and that's already a callback as it is.
I'm
So
a representation
gear.
of my
Why you ain't say
of
nothing
my
about his
real
gear?
dad.
yeah, and his
Yeah.
gear, he's always doing some type of nod to Eddie, and it's kind of
Yeah.
tongue in cheek, especially if you know the storyline. But the way the W.
part.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun because everybody like knows it, but it's like
Yeah,
they're trick-
we was there. We grew up with
Yeah.
him.
bingo. It's like
Yeah.
you guys are tricking us to make it. It's like we all know the little the tidbits. They're not saying it, but we all in the know. It's like
Even his
they're
shirt.
tricking.
Doesn't his shirt say "Dirty Dom" like the Hito? What does it say?
It does.
Something he.
Yeah, so I was like,
something Latino heat, yeah.
he's already in the mix of that. I'm like, dude, just do it. It's like if you want to really get him over, or like his first. I'm talking about like post like Nation of Domination breaks up, The Rock's on his own type stuff. Like let him come out there with a freaking low rider, like bouncing up and down like Eddie Guerrero. People are gonna go crazy. But
That would be
anyways,
fun.
I'm waiting for Penta. Penta is going to eventually dethrone him because of Finn Balor, and that's going to be a whole different thing in itself. But
They ain't
yeah,
gonna walk with the belt. Yo,
That famous-
play the music, yo. Just play it on your Spotify app. I'm trying to tell you, it sounds much better that way. I played it after I got a fresh shape up last week. Man,
made you feel like a new man.
made me feel
It
like
make
a
you
little
feel good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all know I
Okay.
can't dance, so I dance like Penta.
That's okay.
Did the little
The
strut.
little pencil walk, the little.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was laughing because I sent the meme into the group text of him walking across the street in a crosswalk like that. I don't know if you guys. I popped when I saw that. I was just dying laughing. I was like, bro, if I ever see him walking in a crosswalk like that,
He probably does. Think about it. He probably randomly just started doing it. Like, when was he
Masking
going to
off.
somewhere for an interview and he was walking? He just busted out with it. I said, "Oh my god, did he just jumpstart himself?" He said,
I don't-
"Cameras on me."
Nah, see,
Uh-oh.
they lucky. They lucky that they lucky Penta wasn't around with him. And Realness was at the same church.
Oh my goodness, what?
It'd have been like that every Sunday after church.
They're like, what are they doing? Like, what are they?
Like, you already
We
know
all
what
know.
time it is.
Yep, just do your little
Let
strut.
it happen.
You're like, what?
Just let it
There
happen.
you go, exactly. Yep. Just go with it. Just go
Man,
with it.
put me in charge of an usher boy. That's how they gonna
Bro.
walk. That's gonna be the march.
All right,
Hey, there it is.
listen, everybody. We're
Did
gonna do a
y'all-
new march
did-
this Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm sending
Did
you the
y'all see
video
they
right
did, like,
now
a pencil
Yes.
walk song?
Yeah.
with sparklers behind him. You gotta have the sparklers behind
Yeah,
him.
somebody actually made a pencil walk song, and it is pretty good. I like it.
Is it really?
Now I gotta see
Yeah,
that,
Yeah, you
yeah.
gotta send
If
that.
I find it, I'll send it to you.
Run that through
Please
the
do.
chat.
bro.
You are the social media person.
Penta and Jacob Fatu is I don't understand. Like I do understand
Oh,
it because
my
these
fault.
guys have been at it for such a long time, right? They're
Mhm.
already established guys, and it's like they have just exploded onto the scene. And I know, a lot of people are always concerned like how long it takes to get there and being able to do everything else before you get to the WWE. But
Nah, man, that's the thing. Like these veterans, that's why when I was reacting, I'm disappointed because Willow Nightingale resigned with AEW.
Did she
she,
really?
took she took the
Yes,
guaranteed money.
yeah.
I'm not mad at
Oh,
her.
I'm not.
I'm not mad at her, but oh man, I was waiting for that contract to be. I was like,
It
please
was
I
just
like
let her.
I like
Please just
Willow
let her.
Nightingale, but there's no place for her in WWE right now.
No, it's not.
I think it is.
I
I
do
think it
Where?
is.
All right,
No,
all right,
it's
all right, let
not.
me ask you a question. Okay, time out. Got to take a break in the show. I told you we wasn't getting out of here in time.
God dang it, no.
No, brother Hugh, you don't think
Yes.
so? I don't think so either. I think it's just too saturated with too many new stars. Like she can get lost in the
Yeah.
shuffle real quick. Now you
Right.
say you don't think so. Now, brother guy, you think so. So does Brian H. Brother Hugh, talk to us.
Nah, it's like we said, it's just too many big stars being made over here in WWE right now. And
Like
to be honest,
fast.
right, and like she has to come here and come to WWE and reestablish herself for the most part. In
Yeah, I think it's a bad
AEW,
idea.
she's found her place. She's
Bingo.
one of the top people, top women in the AEW. Even though she
Ring of
doesn't have
Honor.
a title,
Mhm.
is she on Ring of Is she on ROH or is she on
She
AEW?
not. She
She just
like
goes both.
I've seen her do like
She looks at
backstage
AEW every
segments and
week
stuff
on
like that.
TV like we do. She watches it
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
all
there
right,
you
yeah,
go.
okay.
Said she
But
watches
either
it.
way, she found her place there,
because she ain't on
and
it.
she needs to stay. And she needs to stay there. And I say honestly, Tony needs to book her better because she should have a title. But she is that
She had one.
go-to person that you can always insert. Like Brian always
Mhm.
talking about inserting certain people into certain situations. She's that person in AEW/ROH, whatever the heck you want to call it.
I'm
Okay.
gonna give credit where credit is due.
Okay.
The reports are saying that she was a priority signer. I do like to see that
Well,
because you don't see that at all with black women in professional wrestling until we
mhm.
got a Bianca Belair. Let's be honest. Bianca Belair is probably the first. If there was a priority contract signing, it was Bianca Belair. And then
Mm.
so I'm gonna give them credit where credit is due.
Hmm.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
man,
Because
I would have loved.
we like she will be. I think she'll get there eventually.
I mean,
No,
look, dude,
gotta
I
be
don't
go
patient.
know.
make all the money. Go do what you gotta do.
There you go.
I feel the way I felt, and I haven't felt this way in a long time. There's two times
Oh,
I
I'm
felt this
nervous.
way. Was when Kenny decided to walk across in Jacksonville that day and join them knuckleheads when they made the announcement of AEW. So when he decided to go there instead of go to WWE, and when Kurt Angle decided to re-up with TNA his last time,
Shoot, not just
like
that. Freaking Sting. I felt the same way with Sting when he should have went to the
that one
AEW.
too,
That's just me.
2011.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
already laid out. Him versus Undertaker.
Mm-mm.
Okay, all right.
All right. Listen. All right. A different type of story was told. Gunta versus Pat McAfee. Now, for weeks, we've heard Michael Cole and Pat McAfee constantly talking about Gunta, his behavior, and how it's kind of just like, but he's starting to be a bit of a bully, man. We're all grown men around here. You're not gonna try to punk us because they all felt like, look, man, it's sour grapes because he lost to Jey Uso. And Jey Uso was someone he felt like he probably shouldn't have lost to. So now he's just on this rampage, and they have been very critical of him and his actions to the point where Gunther kind of got word and said, yo, y'all got something to say. And, we talk about how we got to this point and, him kind of picking on Michael Cole. And then it's like, I'm trying to figure out why they're trying to get Pat McAfee over when he's already over. And I'm like, dude, what else do you need this guy to do at the end of the day? But like the story that was being told in this situation was they went out of their way to say, hey, look, Pat McAfee knows he's no match for Gunther, but as a man, he's got to stand on business. It's because we got to send this guy a message that you're just not going to come and just punk us over here. And like for all the normal fans, it goes back to what Brother Guy said earlier in the show. It's like the commentators are a part of the show too. So in a situation where you may feel like this is a bathroom break match because it's not a typical match, what it turns into is something that the people can relate to. Somebody that says, look, man, I know I can't go toe-to-toe with this monster. It gets heat on Gunta without him having the title. And also it gets one of your biggest baby faces over who happens to be on commentary because the fans can relate to somebody going, look, man, we got to defend ourselves because if not, he's going to keep doing this to us. And the fact that he put up a valiant fight for someone that's not necessarily a wrestler, he got a lot of respect. And even here's how I knew that was going down. The next day when Byron Scott, not Byron Scott,
Byron Saxton,
Byron Saxton. I'm all over the place today.
I like
Byron
that.
Saxton, bro.
Right.
When Byron Saxton, he said, look, I talked to him and we all stand for him as a broadcaster, as colleagues, knowing that he could go on. He knew going into this match, he was not going to win. But the fact that he felt like he had to, you have all of our respect. It was almost like you've done something that we've all wanted to do because we've all been in situations where wrestlers have gotten out of pocket and they've kind of bullied us and came at us knowing that we weren't in the position to necessarily fight back, and that, you know, as a man who survived and goes home to his wife, he actually won the match. So it was that kind of tone to it. And I was like, man, I don't know why they're trying to get Pat McAfee over like he's not already there, man. But it was such a big deal, and it was such an important part of the show because, like I said, it carries over to when he shows up and when he doesn't show up, and then their dynamic and the conversations that they have. And it's like, man, if you listen and you watch that, you have a different type of appreciation because it's something you can relate to. So, but I mean, did you guys feel the same way about this match as far as the storytelling? Did you guys get something else from it? I mean, did I miss something?
No, you hit it all on the head because that match
You did.
lasted longer than I thought. But everything you
Yeah,
said,
right. Absolutely.
Okay,
Michael
so
Cole's
like I said,
MVP.
yeah, he man, I love the fact that they're allowing him to perform, bro. Like
This man
he
is
has
having
shown.
fun now, bro. Like
That's what I'm saying. Like he has taken what's available to him, and he's like, okay, there's more we can do with broadcasting. We don't just have to be the news and the journalism. You know, that's my attitude towards journalism as well.
We know.
Yeah, I knew Brian H was going to like that part. So, but yes, so we get to the main event, and like I said, we're wrapping up. We're going home, Brian H. John Cena, Randy
Hold on,
Orton. Now,
Brodus. Real quick,
yes, sir.
Brodus.
Mhm.
And the only thing I love about this match, because in this era, celebrities aren't just in there clothesline DDT. They're
Sure.
actually telling a story.
Right.
And that's what I loved him. I said, yeah, he knew but he said, I ain't going down like no, you know what. But I was
Bingo.
like, wow, I was impressed. But this was it was for the story of, I really thought going into a Gunther was just going to beat the you know what out of him, and then that's
Write
how
him
you
off
right
TV.
back me off a tape. Or, yeah,
There you
write him
go.
off TV. And they said no, he got a fight in him. So and Michael Cole got involved. So I'm happy these celebrities are actually more than just the celebrities of old.
Yeah, because their involvement is on a different level. It's like they get a chance to kind of have their moment. Like, look, man, I always want to be a wrestler, and I know I can't, but this is my way to kind of have that moment and also contribute to the show. But like you said, they're doing it in such an impactful and meaningful space. So shout out to Pat McAfee and everybody else who's involved. You know, Travis Scott, Logan Paul's just who's absolutely ridiculous. He's not even really a celebrity anymore. It's like he's actually a wrestler. It's ridiculous. One last time, Backlash, St. Louis, John Cena versus Randy Orton, Randall Keith Orton for the WWE Undisputed Championship. Brothers, did this live up to the hype? We've seen this 1,000 times before, but how do we rate this particular match versus the John Cena Randy Orton feud of old? Did it live up to it?
I mean, I don't think you really compare them, you know, because there's different stories being told, especially they switch sides. So, but I definitely think it lived up to it. And
Okay.
I like the finish. You know, there was a lot of people who didn't, but I liked it because it continues, you know, especially going into the press conference with Truth. I thought that was genius. You know, of course, we would have loved to seen that moment happen and the fans gas, but
right,
you know,
that's how they do it.
Yeah, the journalists didn't sell it enough, Brian H. We would have sold it.
Well,
we would have sold it. They got to get your press passes. I know it's a small group this time, so
I'm not going to touch that one. That's for Realm After Dark.
Hold on.
But you're right.
There you go.
But you're right. You know, I didn't think they sold it enough. Plenty of question. But overall,
still not happy about this.
No, overall though, I thought that I just think that moment, I think because they also let Cena kind of have that thank you Cena moment like at the end of the match. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it was one of those things like this could be emotional for him. He
Yeah.
got his dad all in saying no, Cena is retiring from in-ring action and all that. So kudos to them. Like you said, they kind of went out there. It's kind of like they probably, I guess, like if this was old school Randy Orton going to all the young boys, tell them
Yeah.
sit down and watch me put on a clinic,
Bro,
sit down.
graduate level storytelling
That's
Mhm.
it.
with Randy Orton, man. And I'm gonna tell you one of the spots that I'm telling you, this is why I keep saying subtleties. When R-Truth got in the ring, and everybody goes like, R-Truth and Randy Orton are really good friends. And he's like, no, Randy, listen, it's not what you think. Like, bro, and he's like, bro, I'm trying to win. And he had to RKO R-Truth and got him out
Mhm.
the ring. But he runs to the ropes and like almost like instant regret, like, Truth, why? Like, what are you doing? And I was like, yo, his level of performance, he's not even a trained actor. Like, it's so powerful because it's like that once again, he doesn't hear what's going on in commentary. He's in the ring, but Michael Cole, in that moment, Michael Cole's literally saying, R-Truth and Randy Orton, such good friends. He's probably confused and didn't want to do this. And he literally he takes him out and then literally runs through it like, Truth, why? What's going on? Like, what are you doing? And I was like,
Mhm.
man, and it's just like that's that small moment of humanity that Randy Orton had for his friend, because he's like, look what you made me do. I didn't even want to do this to you. Look what you, and he was still concerned. Like, I know it took his face off. Now I
And
gotta
you
go
know
check
why?
on him.
You know why? Like he told John Cena, he had kids.
Well, yeah, it humanized him, right? And he
Bingo.
was that concerned. But guess what though? Just that quick, I don't say it cost him the match, but it cost him the match. But what are you guys thinking, brother Hugh? John Cena, Randy Orton.
Hey man, storytelling at its finest. The
Did you
best
like the
part was for
finish?
me. Yeah, I like the finish.
Okay.
It makes sense because
Okay.
what I didn't notice because I rewatched it, but when the
Mhm.
credits ran, for me it went off, and John Cena was on the turnbuckle holding,
Yeah.
his title up or whatnot. But then I saw the clip later on of him walking out the ring and walking out
Yep.
the arena, and I'm like,
Another
hold up.
setup.
And what did I text y'all? I said, what? This storytelling is about to be crazy
Hmm.
because look, it makes sense now. This is not a John Cena finish.
Yeah. Facts.
He never had to go to those type of levels where he had to cheat to win.
Facts.
You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So for him to do that, then stand outside the ring and give that look like, what did I just do?
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe this. I'm confused. I'm conflicted. The fans are cheering me on, but I'm a bad guy. Like, hold up.
Well, he's trying to
And
be.
then walked out. Yeah, and then walked out slow.
Yep.
Am I really doing the same? Am I really doing the right thing here? Like that's what
Yep.
that's the kind of vibes
Yeah.
I got from this whole thing. And I was just like, oh boy, they about to get real funky with the storytelling, and I'm here for
Right.
the ride. Let's go with it.
This about to get really emotional. Brother guy,
Mm-hmm.
take us home. Uh-oh. We lost brother guy. He went. That's not what I
Oh,
meant, brother
that.
guy. I said, brother guy. I said, brother guy, take us home. And he literally signed off. He went home. All right. Well, listen. That's not what I meant when I said take us home. He's
Oh,
just like,
he's
okay,
back.
bye.
He's
So
back.
brother guy, did you okay, brother guy's back. Listen, I meant take us home, not you go home. Like that doesn't mean hang up. But I said, brother
Oh,
guy,
that's
take
Oh
us home.
man.
And yes, I said, bloop, he was gone. But
that was not planned. But you gonna laugh when I say this. This was the worst match on the card, but the best entertaining of Backlash.
sounds like a John Cena match.
Yeah, we didn't expect. I
Yeah.
didn't expect a 5-star classic. I expected
Mm-hmm.
some shenanigans, and I expected us to care more about Randy at the end of this match than we did about Cena.
Mm-hmm.
And I leading into it, I was like, all right, are they going to promote us to death? Because Randy kind of said the same thing, but being at home, it was still a hope that maybe they're going to do a quick switch. Who knows? Because Randy has been that person before. But I I absolutely loved the finish because it was like, oh, this makes sense. It didn't feel like it was forced. It was like organically, this is the best way to keep the title on Cena. This is the easiest way to do it. And then it's still going to get people to say, well, why was R-Truth involved? Look, Randy RKO'd all of the former wrestlers, that the backstage producers. It was
I
like,
love
okay,
that part. That's the best part of the match for me. I said, yes. I said, I love when all the agents get to take quick bumps. We're like, you guys ready for the night? Yeah, I got one more in me.
one more in me. That's what I was
Yep.
going to say, because it was like, and he just did it so clean. And it was like, okay, this is what
And
I
they all
expect.
sold it.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody's
It's the
like,
most devastating thing ever. So I when I say the worst match, I'm taking that lightly because all of the matches delivered, each one delivered in a different way.
Mhm.
And I think that this John Cena heel turn is getting questionable because it's like remember when it is these two before, and I always say this comparison. Randy Orton was terrorizing everybody, kicking them in the head and everything.
nah,
But then when it came to him and Cena, it's like, no, we like you because you're fighting Cena. I feel like this is that same. Yeah, and it's like everybody's like, let's go Cena. Cena sucks. He's like, but your mother blank. And they're like, okay, but we still like you. Let's go Cena. And it's like, no matter what he tries, they continue.
It's not working.
Yeah, they continue like, no, but we want to see you. We're going to keep buying the spinners. We're going to keep buying the t-shirts. We're going to keep buying all the stuff because you're going to still be there. So,
and I think, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, and I think that everybody's worried about the CM Punk match. I think we're going to get an R-Truth match before we get CM Punk. That might be what takes him over the edge as the heel.
Yeah, I think that's
oh boy, yeah. I think I'm glad we asked you. I asked you to take us home, brother guy, because you definitely laid out some tidbits when it comes to that.
Right. Random question.
Yeah.
Are y'all opposed to having a John Cena versus The Rock again? Because it would kind of make sense. If
Absolutely. Don't ever want to see that again.
Nope. I would love to.
I don't think. Of course, he says that. I just don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna serve the purpose of what the heck John Cena is trying to do, unless like at the end when he like turns good. But I don't. But like
right.
But The Rock has gotten pro wrestling down to a science based off what he's learned coming up from his mom.
Right.
Is that he has proven like, bro, we don't need to have a whole match. All we got to do is have a moment. We don't need the match. We just got to have the moment. Like The Rock was one of the most over stars last year at WrestleMania. Ace, he wrestled the day before, and the only thing we talked about, it was almost an afterthought that he had a match at the first night of WrestleMania. Like nobody said, man, The Rock looked real good coming in the ring, and he did. He looked amazing. Of course, he didn't move the same, ring rust, obviously. But what did we talk about? The main event of night 2. You know what I mean? His choke slam with The Undertaker. You know, that whole moment, his bell bottoms that he had on. So it's like, he's like, we don't need a match. Just got to show up. Listen, we'll give us 20 minutes. Let's have the moment. That's all people care about anyway. So it's like, well, I mean, his moment with Cody Rhodes, to me, I'm going to piss you off, Brad H, is going to last a lot longer than his matches with John Cena. Like, you care about the fact that he wrestled John Cena, not the actual matches. It's just the fact that John Cena called him out and told him he didn't care about the business. It was the fact that he disrespected The Rock's lineage because The Rock, people didn't fully know how much of the business he really came from and how much it was in his blood. So for John Cena to call him out to try to bait him, like, that's all we talk about. We're not talking about, man, just that was, they put on a clinic. I got to run that back. No, it's the moment that you're worried about. So it's like, you know, Vince wants a match, but The Rock's like, no, listen, we'll have a 20-minute segment rather before have a 20-minute just to bring him back home. Like, all right, I tried being evil, it didn't work out. Ultimate face turn I'm going home. But to both of you guys' points, because it's time for us to go home ourselves. Don't click off, brother guy. Is that I think because people know that this is John Cena's last run. If he said, I'm not going anywhere, I'm going to be the champion forever, there's nothing you're going to do about it, I think he had a better chance of getting booed. But at this point, if people are like, first of all, you spend so much time smartening up your audience, because Triple H's attitude is, look, man, everybody already knows what this is. Let's stop pretending. It's not like kayfabe is dang near dead. Like, let's not keep pretending that it's something that is not. People know what's going on. So fans are like, yeah, right. Like, you can fake, you can call my mother fat all you want. And, you know, they say, Johnson, he goes, you fan, your mom's fat. And that fan goes, well, you know, my mother can stand to lose a few pounds. And it's like, no, I just called your mother. You know what I mean? Like, what? You know, it's you getting that vibe because it's like people like, well,
Take it away.
yeah, well, we know you. This is your last run, so what difference does it make? You can call us whatever you want to call us. You're right.
We
You're
can still
ugly.
cheer you or boo you. I'm like, yep, you're right.
You're ugly. Well, you know what? I have not been the most handsome. You know, I didn't. You know,
I could use a haircut today. He's right.
yeah, like, okay, well, kid, you're disrespectful. I am. My dad never corrected me. It is what it is.
My daddy
rules-
don't only live at home no more.
The rules don't apply to the wrestling shows. You know, so it's like it's like that's. Anyways, a match with R-Truth might help because it's like everybody loves R-Truth. So like if John Cena is not going to go full blown make Mankind versus The Rock quit match, it's not going to work.
Right.
Okay, good point. Yeah, he's got to go to that level. He ain't gonna go to that level.
Because when I watched those clips the other day, and I was like, "Ooh, I felt hate in my heart watching The Rock just keep doing that, just chair shot at it. Like it was 12 chair shots, and he was not holding back. And I was like, "Yo, you starting to piss me off because that man's handcuffed behind his back. We love Mick Foley, and there's nothing we can do but have to. We got to sit. Oh my gosh, that was a disaster. That was a disaster.
You had to get ready for
crazy.
Front row, man. What was he thinking? Like, no.
Right.
That's some diabolical stuff, boy.
His wife
That's beyond diabolical. That's sickening.
Up his daughter.
Oh my God.
Young
Like that
Noel.
was poor Noel has sat there and said, I don't remember my dad wrestling at all as a child. That's how traumatic it was for me. I was like, that's not okay. We got some serious situations that we have to address mentally. But like I said, Randy Orton, John Cena, I don't know if John Cena's heel turn is working. I feel like he's trying to do whatever he can, and I think he's struggling. But to Brother Hugh's point, this might just be one elaborate ruse just to talk about his ultimate redemption. You know, we see this in literature. We see this in science fiction. This is the Darth Vader story. This is somebody trying to convince that there's some good left in John Cena. He's like, nope, I'm pure evil. Only to find out, you know what? Maybe I'm not as evil as I thought I was going to be. And I think that's how it naturally ends. But for one last time, Randy Orton versus John Cena. I think it delivered. I think the show delivered, as the brothers have all kind of graciously taken the time to explain to the wrestling fans all around the world that listen to this show how important these PLEs are and how great of a job they are doing when it comes to the storytelling. It's almost next level. And as wrestling fans who have been able to watch the product for as long as we have, it's fun. It's refreshing. I'm glad we're here, and I'm glad that we can be this old and still have this much fun as if this stuff is brand new. So yes, so shout out to WWE, shout out to WWE Backlash. There's a couple things we have to address moving forward, but we will get to those things. Like, is this whole Paul Heyman thing with Seth Rollins working? Because I think it's falling flat, but it's early. I'm not going to judge. We'll get to that later on. Yeah, I ain't feeling it. Realm After Dark. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Stick with us. We will be back next week. Championship culture is on the way. Please be patient. We do know that the belt room has been cleared out, and we have a date, June 10th. Follow Championship Culture on Instagram at Championship Culture _ just in case they try to drop off. These guys are sneaky. They drop off little tidbits. Tidbits is like my new word. I've been saying this a lot. Drop off little tidbits and little secret messages to maybe inform us of some surprises of things to come. But of course, until then, follow us on all the rest of our social media platforms at Wrestling Wrealm. Subscribe to our Patreon, our Twitch, and our YouTube channel at the Wrestling Wrealm. There are a few things on the Patreon channel. Some content may be coming soon. It's a few new articles, something called Realness Reacts, or the Realness Report, or Realness Realizes. Oh, there's a lot coming anyway. But like I said, that's another story for another day. Wrestling fans, as usual, please stay wrestling fans. We will see you next week. We are out of here. Peace.
Houston, we have a problem.
For all exclusive shows and bonus material, subscribe to our Patreon channel at patreon.com/thewrestling_realm. You can watch all of our Wrestling Wrealm content anytime on youtube.com/thewrestling realm.